Have you ever stood before someone who was supposed to be your safest haven, yet felt a very strange sensation rising within your heart? It isn't exactly anger. It isn't exactly pain. It feels like a void in your heart that someone has carved out, as if you had been excitedly waiting for something for a very long time, only to have to accept that it will never come. And from that moment, you decide never to wait again. You stay there. You remain present. You fulfill your role perfectly. But deep inside, you have learned not to allow yourself any more emotions or expectations. I believe this feeling is not rare. Many of us have walked through it. Because when a wound comes from a stranger, we can leave, create distance, and let time do the rest. But when the wound comes from those closest to us, from a father, a mother, the people we grew up beside and call by sacred names, it is truly difficult to escape. It arrives and exists forever, in memories, in the way we flinch when someone raises their voice, in the way we close ourselves off when someone tries to step closer, in a deep-seated belief that perhaps we are not truly worthy of being loved completely. That pain is real, and no one has the right to deny it. But today, I don't just want to talk about the pain. I want to tell you a story of my own. My mother grew up in a large family. As the second eldest child, she had to drop out of school very early to work and shoulder the burden alongside her parents. Her childhood had no room for tenderness. It was filled with scoldings, beatings, and pressures thrust upon the shoulders of a child who hadn't yet grown up. Then, as an adult, she followed family arrangements into a marriage devoid of love or understanding. Only imposition, jealousy, control, and abuse, turning her life into a series of jagged wounds that were never healed. My mother left her homeland for abroad when my siblings were very young, driven by the need for survival. Because life does not give people many choices. Then she gave birth to me there. When she chose to be a single mother, I, the youngest child who seemingly would enjoy her parenting experience, was actually the first one she raised from beginning to end. I am the youngest in the family. It sounds like a stroke of luck. People often say how fortunate I am to have my mother by my side, to be cared for and nurtured more than my siblings. But not everyone sees what lies inside. I am not telling these things to justify or excuse what she did. I am telling them so we can understand that her starting point regarding environment, family, and life was like that. I don't know how many evenings from childhood until now I have sat alone, tears falling without understanding why constant beatings rained down even though I did nothing. I didn't understand why words could be so acerbic. Many times I had to ask myself, is my appearance in this world a failure? Am I not good enough to be loved? Those thoughts and wounds constantly eroded me, making me increasingly negative in my relationship with my mother. I wasn't negative in a loud, rebellious way, but silently. I still lived, still studied, was still an obedient child, doing everything as usual. But inside, I stopped waiting, stopped expecting, and no longer dared to feel too much. I did everything as an obligation. As years passed, this caused me to lose connection with my mother, and I couldn't even connect with myself. Until one day, I realized something that truly terrified me. I was starting to become like my mother. Not in the good qualities, but in the reactions I used to hate the most. The way I got annoyed, the way I defended myself, the way I unconsciously hurt others. It was all terrifyingly familiar. At that moment, I understood that if I didn't choose to find a way to deal with it, it would unconsciously pass down to my next generation and the innocent people around me. I began to search for answers to my own traumas. I believed that only when I understood where those things came from could I do something differently. In that journey, I began to see my mother through a different lens. I saw a woman who had never been healed, someone who had to learn to survive before learning to love, someone who was never taught how to be gentle, so she didn't know how to be gentle. In Buddhism, there is a very profound perspective on human beings. Each of us carries our own karma. It is not punishment or a negative connotation, but simply the traces of what we have gone through, endured, and accumulated over the years. My mother was the same. What she went through did not disappear. It was imprinted on the way she reacted, the way she loved, and the way she existed. She never chose to hurt me. She even loved me deeply and was willing to sacrifice everything for my hap.